Hello guys, welcome to the first video of object-oriented programming in Python, where we try to learn the basic concept and fundamental of the Python classes and at the same time build a chatbot in order to understand the concept better. In this video especially, we'll cover the absolute essential of Python classes, what they are, why do we need them, and how to build your first Python class. Let's start. We will start to create our first Python class with creating a new project. We can create our first file, we can name it as main.py. We can go, for example, for the documents and create a new folder. We can set that OOP1. We go into it and we create our file. So the next step is that we want to define class. In programming, the class is like a blueprint, and the object is something that you build based on that specific blueprint. Think of a class as a recipe, and objects as a cake that you bake based on that specific recipe. The recipe defines the ingredients, the steps that are needed in order to create that cake, but each cake that you bake is a separate object that can have its own decorations, flavors, and personalities. Let's define our class chatbot, basically the blueprint that we want to define, and the object out of it will be something like friendly chatbot, sarcastic chatbot, or whatever that we want to create an object from this blueprint. The class, you can write it like this in Python. We define this and let's keep it simple. We can keep it like that. We just, whatever it is, it's just pass. So the pass here means that whatever happens here, it will continue without raising an error or returning something. And at the end, pass is just a placeholder. But how can we define, for example, object out of it? We call the first object, for example, here, bot1. If we want to have bot1 out of the blueprint of the chatbot, we can easily set that chatbot. Oh, sorry, there's a typo here. Yeah, the empty parentheses. And with that, we have our object bot1. And we want to see what is inside bot1. Let's see together. We have bot1, we save it, and we run it debugging with the Python debugger and the currently active Python file. Okay, you see the output here. There's an object on this specific address. So we know that our object lives there, and we create the object out of this blueprint. And this object itself is a live entity, or whatever you want to call it. It's basically, it has its own personality now, which is an instance from the chatbot class. Okay, now we want to add a name for each class. Let's say that we want to say each chatbot, it has its own name. In that case, we can call something like init. The init function is called automatically whenever you create a class. So whatever that you want to initialize the class, you can add those variables to the init function. First, we need to define is as a function. Init is a function, so for the method inside the blueprint, we need to add def. We add two parameters for it, self and name. The self is referring to the current object that we are creating now, and the name is the name of the chatbot that we want our instance to initialize it at first. We said that the self name should be equal to the name. So in that sense, if we want to define two bots, for example, the first bot, we said that Aiden, and the second bot, we can copy paste first. We can name it as Laura. And if, for example, here we want to print the name from bot 1 and bot 2, let's put it in two different prints. You can see it's Aiden and Zoro. And these two objects, there are two different objects. If you want to check where the addresses from those objects, you can put bot 1 and bot 2. And you can find the address of those instances that are being created based on the blueprint. Now let's give our chat some abilities or the actions that it can perform. In Python, these are just methods, which are basically functions inside the class. Like what we said for the initialize, we can define our own method inside the class by the name that we want. I will continue to write the attributes, then we can talk each other after I finish writing. Now we wrote two methods here. The first method is greet. The greet is basically introducing itself, that what is the name of the chatbot. Here you can see the new way to add your self-name into the message that you want to print. You can see when you add f here for your string, inside that string you can put the variables that you want that string to be hold of. The another method is respond to greet. We put 3 default messages that we want our chatbot to respond to. Hi, hello, and hey. Whatever the user input is search into the greetings that if it's already included in that. In case that it is, then we send a response to it. And in case that it's not, our chatbot said that not sure how to respond to it. Let's say our bot 1, it has the greet. It calls the function first, so it introduces itself. Then bot 2 introduces also itself in order to check if they're functioning correctly. And if we delete those and run it, we can see that the first one said that hello, my name is Aiden, and the second one tells that hello, my name is Zara. We can make sure that they're totally separate from each other, and the values that we initialize in those methods, they're working properly. Okay, let's use also the other function that we define for each of those bots in order to see how it can respond to whatever user inputs that is there. We said that it's, for example, for bot 1, the Aiden one, what we can say is only hi. For the second one, I want to use different thing, for example, what's up with question mark. Let's see how each of those will respond to it. Okay, perfect. The first one introduced itself. The second one also introduced itself. The first one answers me back, nice to meet you. But the second one said that I'm not sure how to respond to that, as we expected from our recipes inside the class. Great, you learned the fundamental of the Python classes. You now know how to create methods in order to handle the user's actions or the object actions as you want to do, and you know how to create the recipes and how to create instances out of that recipe. So in the next video, I would like to discuss about the encapsulation and inheritance, two important concepts from classes, which enables our chatbot to have the personality and also to have its own private memory. Until the next video, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Bye.